All right, so we are live. We can just wait for some people to trickle in here as we chat it up.
Right as it gets here.
Hey, it is what it is.
We just about to film live.
All right.
Yeah.
Is that again?
Yeah.
Is
So,
it 5 megabytes?
I don't know.
You're doing?
Yeah.
All right, so we are live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Only Chaos. My name is Brad Smith. We got a special session for you tonight. I got Cameron Binion from Young Money Investments, and he specializes in longer-term investing, particularly in these bigger board stocks, usually blue chip type of stuff. And just brought him on tonight. He's not a stranger to this channel. Cameron and I hooked up and chatted back in, I think it was April or something, during my Millionaire Monday segment. And Cameron's found a lot of success in just his profession alone, and then he uses this trading gig for now as his a little bit of a side hustle. But he's gotten really good at it, really proficient. It's been killing it lately, and I'll let him take it away. So what's going on, Cameron? How you been?
Doing good. Resettled in, trying to get back. I'm gonna west, guess the Mountain West, back here, trying to get settled in and get back to more consistent trading. It's been a little crazy lately, obviously with the ADT and with sales and everything, taking up most of my time during this. Kind of fun to kind of get back in the swing. So things are crazy. You know how crazy goes, but
Oh yeah.
I'm excited to dedicate a little time to trading again. I feel like you take it for granted when you can do it, and then when you do it, you get that love and that back for it a little bit more.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about that. I mean, I follow you on Instagram. I mean, you were still making trades even though you were working like crazy. So I think what your style of trading does is that it gives folks an opportunity, I guess, to learn, what you've been doing, because you work a crazy job. You have a crazy schedule. It's not even just a 9 to 5. It's more than that, and you still find time to find the trade. So I think that what you do can resonate with a lot of folks out there, because the large majority of my audience and the people that are involved in We Trade HQ, they're all working people, particularly a lot of blue collar guys too. So and gals.
Yeah. I mean, especially during the summer month, busy. I mean, this is a job, but especially during the summer, it is a full-time thing. I mean, I've been long term, or I guess investing. It's not really trading. It's an investment when you're going long. Since 14 or 15, I forget how old I was. So something that I started, back when I was in high school, and have consistently. It started as a way to basically build for retirement, right? I mean,
Yeah.
That's what investing at its, whereas, whether it be OTCs or whether it be the stuff Connor's doing, or trading, your livelihood and your income. Investing started out for me. I learned from Jones Investor, my financial advisor. So there is way different, and I don't recommend going that way anymore. I think it's good to be smart and to learn yourself. I like that it has afforded me the ability to, I think I could even go into some things, taking a portion of, on a weekly basis or however you money, and consistently put it in there. And I've just found that a great way to build. It's not stressful.
Right.
And I love it. That's all I say about it so far.
Right. And again, guys, this is a live podcast. Please feel free to ask any questions pertaining to what Cameron does and how he finds success and stuff like that. And even if it's a little bit off the cuff, not necessarily directly related to stock markets, or if it's just something you want to know about Cameron specifically or personally, feel free to ask away. We're just kind of like an open book at this point. But let's take a step back a little bit and just kind of talk about your background first. how you got to be to where you're at, not just with trading, but, you know, I feel like, in my opinion, no matter what background you've developed some sort of discipline, right? And so you obviously have this discipline to where you've been successful enough to, you know, really grind it out and be a huge success with just your normal day job. And I don't even want to say just your normal day job, because you certainly kill it there. But you've been able to use some of those disciplines to apply it to trading. So do you mind touching a little bit on that?
So, I mean, I think the thing that you know, and that's, I think if you don't follow me on Instagram right now, my Instagram is probably my like avenue or media outlet that I use.
Yeah.
To kind of just show what I do on a daily basis. I mean, no one posts everything or shows everything. I mean, that's kind of the thing with, you know, social media is, you know, obviously what they want to show, but I mean, I try to be as transparent as possible. And I think like you have to learn to love. Everything starts, you know, with your passion and kind of your drive to be your best. I think that's something that I sometimes think back and I'm like, that come from, you know, anyone that's in the stock market, I think wants to be different, because, right, you know, we get into these communities. It's like, there is a lot of people that you feel like trade, but really at the end of the day, we are a small group of individuals that do this and like to do this. And
find success doing it too, you know.
Absolutely. I forget that there's some people that aren't successful at it, because I see you making, you know, large sums of money. I making large amounts, you know. Ralph, for example, that was just, you know, just here, like, I mean, the fact that I made $900,000 6 months, you know, out of the gate,
right?
So you kind of start to forget, you know, that the hard thing to do. But I think just having a higher, and I think the thing that I've done is very risky. I'm kind of a small risk taker. I do take risks.
You're right.
I have like some background knowledge that I know something be pretty sound, and I have losses, you know, I do have lots like everybody else, but I think I've done, and this is, you know, I give some background information on me, is I've taken a lot of the funds that I've made summer sales and through sales and things like that, I've created more using that money. So
I feel like, you know, there's you know, a common misconception, because you see it and it's what's attractive and it's what's sexy, but like, you see people that turn, and I guess maybe I'm a little bit guilty of glorifying a little bit of this too, because we have had instances within our group where people turn $700 into $17,000, or, you know, but that's not the normal everyday thing, but it is what's attractive, and it is what's sexy and what draw the eyes in. But what people fail to see, I think, sometimes, and it's unfortunate, because that's not how you get people to come to your group, right, or your community, is through, you know, the actual grind. But the truth of the matter is that there is a grind and there is a process, and that, you know, just because you see maybe a few consistent wins right out of the gate doesn't mean that you still don't have anything to learn. Because, I mean, and you know, you've been doing this a long time, as myself, and even some of our most veteran traders, they'll tell you that they're learning something every single day of the week that they trade. And it's one of those things where it's easy to get caught up in the, oh my gosh, I've made all this money, I'm good, and I'm just going to keep trading, and I'm going to keep swinging for the fences. Well, one day you're going to strike out, and you're going to lose it all again. And we actually have had that, where, you know, we had somebody that was up $20,000 and they didn't lock in their profit, and wrote it all the way back down to what their initial investment was. And it's like, if you would have just, you know, not been, I guess, so, I don't know what the word is for it, but like, you get like so fixated on, you know, oh, I know this is going to be my $1 million winner, instead of just taking that 20 grand that you didn't have in the first place and building on that. You know, I think is it, and it's a discipline, and it's crazy, because it's not even like something that you can really teach. It's something that you just have to develop yourself. Like, we can give you all the tools and resources that we can, but actually teaching you that discipline is something that you just have to learn and grow and do yourself. I don't think it's necessarily a 100% coachable thing. I think there's skills that you can put in place that you can learn, but just having that sheer discipline is, something that you have to develop on your own. I think that happens with trial and error and learning certain things, and taking those mistakes and using them as learning tools.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that? Or
that's kind of the thing. My thing is the way I got into investing in trading is I started out with long-term. And I think, the thing that I mess with, especially new investors, or, however they want to get into, start out, put your funds into, go long if you're going to path or kind of do it.
Right.
Put this money in there, that you are not going to touch it for years. Chose blue chip stocks. I mean, the thing that I always did was I chose companies that had very little risk, where, over the next few years, you could see a lot of potential in them. And if you want to start getting like OTC, if you want to start getting day trading and, swing trade, have a portion set aside for that. Just found that, for me, those long-term, your Amazons, your Facebooks, if Facebook is a long-term buy, I think right now what their future holds, especially sell-off over the next years. It is hard. You do have to take into consideration, people are going to probably really investors, oh, well, there's going to be a pull into the long bull right now. But if you can find the mental capacity and the mental to lead in after, if we do have and keep buying through that, you're going to be very wealthy on the road. And so it is a different, but that's kind of the table,
Yeah. And I 100% agree. I think it's just a different, mindset, right? Where like you can, it's one of those things where it's like you were saying, like with OTCs, it's a whole different type of discipline, I guess. And whereas yours, it's kind of one of those things. And a perfect example of this is Tesla, right? I just had a video out on this, and you and I talked about it last week, just over a phone call, that like people were so reactionary, and it was a knee-jerk reaction to just the action of Elon Musk, which really wasn't even that big of a deal. And people just sold the heck out of it. It went down 10%. It was the biggest drop that it experienced in 2 years. And if you had that fortitude or that discipline kind of like, or that outlook that you or even I have, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm buying this because Tesla's worth way more than that to be able to, continue to go down off of something as silly as this. And buying that dip, and lo and behold, and we talked about this too at the beginning of the week, that it came right back up. And, if you were making a longer term investment, you could have added to your position down lower, maybe average down or whatever, and, you'd be up. And it's just, again, it's like one of those, it's a discipline that you just have to develop. And I think it takes some experience, but I think with the community that we try to have is we try to hedge some of that, obviously. And,
and that's what I like about it, like this, is the fact, it fortifies, I think, your emotion. It gives you a little bit of a gut situations where, well, we're in Tesla before the dip. A lot of times, I think you're a lone wolf and you're on your own. That is going to make your stock a little bit, even if you're a trader or investor. Right. And if you have a community of people that are going, hey, this is a great opportunity to buy more, gobble it like this. It doesn't get cheap. This is like Black Friday. Buy it because it is going to go. And you have that thought back your mind, but because you've lost money, I think it gives you more confidence to, I will buy more of that, and hey, we can all profit together. And that's what's cool. What I like.
Yeah, and of course we try to be careful with making sure people don't buy just because we're telling them to. But I think being able to just have that guidance and that insight from people who have been there, in the trenches, and just kind of be like, hey, listen, this is what I saw, this is what I've seen in the past, and historically this is going to bounce back, based off of what I've seen in the past. And I guess kind of like, I don't know, cover yourself a little bit, just to say, hey, this is what has happened historically. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen, but there's a pretty good chance that Tesla's going to bounce back from this, and it did. And like, I just thought it was the most ridiculous reason for a sell-off.
Surprised how quickly it bounced.
Yeah,
quite honest with you.
Yeah, and it did. It came right back because I think, you have certain investors that are these, maybe these big, I don't know what you want to call them, but just like these huge giant investors. Maybe they have a bunch of hedge funds, and it's probably more than likely a bunch of old dudes. Maybe they're used to like older way of doing business, and things are changing. And I think we're at a tipping point where a generation is going to move over to a different style or a different way of thinking about certain things. Because when you think about it commonsensically, I don't even know if that's a word. It just flew out. But if you think about it from a common sense standpoint, Elon Musk, okay, he was smoking weed, and it was legally in in a setting where Joe Rogan's known for doing that sort of thing. So it's like, does it really come to a surprise to anybody? And I think to a younger crowd who's used to seeing that kind of stuff, it's like, okay, what big deal? Half the country it's legal to do that in, and it's not going to be long before the entire country's on board with it. And he was there drinking whiskey, and nobody said anything about that. So I think there's going to be coming a point, and I think, like I said, we're in the middle of a transition where it's going to be viewed the same way. I think that's what might have happened here. I think there's a lot of older investors that said, you know what, I don't like this style, what the CEO has been doing. This isn't the way that we do things, whatever. And then I think either those younger folks came in, or that younger generation came in and just bought that up. It could have been a multitude of factors that played there, but I think that could be one reason why we saw that shift so quickly. Because I honestly think that there's a ton of younger investors that are in companies like Tesla because it's like, it's a futuristic company, right? And I think that if there's kids it's crazy to me that there's kids out there that have posters of Model X's in their room. Like when I was growing up, it was hot rods and whatever else. But you have these kids now that they have stuff like that. So I think there's just that appeal to that younger generation. I think that's what that shift was. I think there's just older investors that just sold out because that just wasn't their way, and the younger folks just came in and scooped it right up. I really honestly think that was one of the big major factors there.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I think if we're talking about it, it doesn't affect the financials. I mean, if you stop and think about the fact that what does it do in terms of Tesla? I think the other is we keep seeing all these, Elon added kind of things.
Right.
I think I always go to the thing, the stock market hates uncertainty, right?
Yeah.
When something like this is uncertain, those old investors hate that there's something uncertain going on. They want to sell off. And so I think what's interesting is I think people saw the value in it really quickly, saw that it was a good buy. And if you look at the fundamentals and those kinds of things, it was just a great support line.
Yeah.
It really, I think for me, that was the easiest I've made money on was dip buy, but it's exciting. I'm a Tesla bull for sure, but anyway, you did them lately, freak. We can get into that on a whole other platform.
All right.
Well, for my Model 3.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot that you got that coming, right?
Well, yeah, it was supposed to go to Portland. Now they're telling me that it's supposed to take like months to switch it to Utah. That it months to get it. So I don't know. It's ridiculous, but yeah, it's a whole nother topic.
Well, hopefully you get it soon. I do have one question here. Tom asks, are there any publications or books that you would suggest recommending for beginners, people just starting out?
Say that one more time.
Is there any books or publications that you would recommend for anybody who's just starting out?
It's hard. I've read YouTube, and I get. Well, it's funny. It's so funny because I feel like trading generation of us that are trading aren't really much, we're not readers. And
Right,
so it's
yeah.
kind of, I don't get that question a lot, but I get a lot on Instagram. They're like, hey, do you have any that you've read or any books that you recommend? And it's change and strategy
Yeah.
6 months ago work today. Long-term investing is different, right? Because really it stayed the same, at least for me. So I don't that I recommend. You know, I always tell everybody check out my channel and kind of check, you know, the videos.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, there's several principles, and I think at least in my channel, I do kind of cover those of I recommend. But unfortunately, like, I'm trying to think, I have like a couple books on day trading, but I honestly I've just found YouTube to be very beneficial. I mean, I can think of a channel that a lot of the ideas that I think this it's pretty popular also as well. But I just like to. I'm a visual learner, so sorry I don't have a book to recommend to him.
No, that's okay, and I agree with that sentiment. I think the way that I you know learned all this stuff, obviously YouTube was a huge part of that, but I think also finding somebody who's good at it. You know, for me, I had a personal mentor who helped me through it on a personal standpoint. So I think it's a combination of things. I think, you know, learning on your own through the internet and through YouTube. Obviously, Investopedia is a good resource when you're trying to just figure out terminology and, you know, what are these filings, how do I read them, and that sort of thing. I think Investopedia is a great resource for that. But just surrounding yourself around successful people, and I think this is just obviously a kind of a cliche, and I'm full of them sometimes, but a cliche for life really, but it's true here too. Networking and surrounding yourself around the right people when it comes to trading, and people that aren't just going to try to like feed you stocks because they want you to buy it to pump up whatever it is they want you to pump up. And, you know, people who are genuinely concerned about your success and celebrate that. And I think that's what we're really good at, is that we celebrate the success of others, no matter how big or small it is. You know, if somebody comes in and they're like, hey, I made $50 today. We're going to celebrate that just as hard and just as much as we would somebody that, you know, would make $10,000 that day. It's no different. And, you know, we're not going to look down on somebody because they've only got $1,000 to invest, or you know, compared to maybe somebody who's got $100,000 to invest. It doesn't matter. We're not gonna, you know. And I think that's important, because there are groups out there that will discriminate against you if you don't have a certain amount of money to invest with. And I think that's a shame. I think, you know, people are missing out on such a huge part of folks, because, you know, they don't teach investing in school. They don't teach it. So like, you're on your own out here, you know, when it comes to this sort of thing. They just don't. They don't teach that. And it's up to us. It's up to us to do that. And I think that's what We Trade HQ is about. And, you know, it's part of the reason why I brought you back on here. And for those of you who are tuning in here, Cameron is going to be, you know, making a little bit more of a presence on We Trade HQ. We've been trying to find somebody that just, you know, that can help some other folks out as far as longer term investing. And Cameron said he'd be more than willing to hop in every now and then and kind of just talk to some folks and answer questions and help them out or whatever. So
yeah, I mean, one more thing to say real quick.
Yeah.
Kind of, I think, you know, helping people long term investing. There's a lot. I think the big thing that helps long term investors is a knack for looking at news and looking at things that are going on in the news. Those are things that have helped, I think, long-term investing. And I'm hoping, you know, kind of creating a good way to put it, but kind of creating a good like thought process, or kind of being able to know my thoughts and how I get into companies.
Yeah,
that's what I'll hopefully try to bring to Discord, and that'll help reading a book and being like, okay, explains it. I'll try and share my thoughts in there.
Yeah, I think that, you know, I think a lot of people will benefit from that, you know, just being another presence in there. And, you know, I think everybody has their strengths, and I think obviously your strength is longer term investing. And like I said, I think that it's and you guys, you let me know if you're with Cameron here, is that like if you're if you're want to get into trading but you still have this 9 to 5 job, it's kind of hard to for maybe some folks to have a handle or be constantly glued to the stock market while you're trying to work throughout the day. And so Cameron's been able to find a way to do both. And I think that we're going to be able to, cater to a lot of folks that are in the same boat as you. So appreciate you, being willing to come on and help some other folks that might be interested in other ways. And that was the whole point of We Trade HQ. It wasn't just going to be the Own the Chaos show, or the Brad show or whatever. I wanted to grab other people that were good at different parts of the market or different styles of trading. And I think that, you certainly are going to be a great piece to that puzzle.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's a ton of fun. I think it'll be great.
Yeah, I think so too. So let me see if there's anybody else have any questions. Yeah, somebody said it's becoming pretty clear to me to pay attention to the news. Yeah, for sure. Tom said, yeah, long-term investing is why I am retired. Somebody said, yeah, I need this. So yeah, I think people are really going to get a lot out of this, Cameron. I think it's exactly what we needed too. And I'm excited. I'm excited for you just to be there, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think one of the first things, in fact, I'll make probably this. I can probably put one together that'll be released tomorrow. It'll kind of a little bit of a teaser for it. We'll probably go over how large large investments have kind of went out of based companies because the uncertainty in the market.
Yeah.
And how they've went into the large companies. You've probably noticed Amazon's been trending up. You probably noticed, I mean, God, free is just crushing it lately.
Right.
Those large American companies, a lot of the domestic hedge funds have taken their money. Companies like Alibaba, Tencent, I believe, some of the largest multi-billion-dollar corporations in China. You've probably noticed over the past months that they're going down.
Yeah.
And it's a great buying opportunity for long-term investors. I'm a fan of of Chinese companies, but how old they are right now. I'm going to make a little bit of a video on kind of how the financials haven't changed. In fact, their earnings have been pretty good, and that's for the group. So if you haven't subscribed to investments, get into that. But it's going to be kind of hybridization of that We Trade HQ and the Discord group. So if you're not I'll make a little plug for that. To get
yeah, for sure. And so go check out Young Money Investments on YouTube, and that's Cameron's channel. I know that for a time you were trying to get like a regular Sunday thing together. I don't know if you're going to try to roll that back out or anything like that, but
yeah, and it will. I'm not trying to I don't feel to plug it too much. I mean, I would love interested. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the way you are. It's not like we're trying to pull people force them, because that's not the way investing. You have to put in the effort.
Yeah.
But yeah, investments is my YouTube. I wouldn't say it got abandoned over, but it's my job is my priority, especially from August. I have to more time to that. I was able to put out a video usually about once a week, and that was usually Sunday. Now it's really, I hate editing videos. I hate putting them together. I just love trading.
Yeah,
that's what I love to do. I'll attest to that. Thumbnail,
right.
But it will. I'm going to get that going a little bit more. I will gear it, especially to some of my long-term investment, swing trading. So I'm a weird investor. I like using multiple stocks.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that,
But want to jump on the same bandwagon. We'll be creating a few more videos, so feel free to subscribe. And I try to get a course put out. I mean, that's been a goal probably since we first talked back in the spring you know. So Brad working on that stuff, and I'm just excited. Like it's a good time to be. I mean, it should be good.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. So we'll go ahead and cut it there. There's no other questions. As of right now, I think we'll go ahead and leave it there, and you know, just go check them out on Young Money Investments. I'll put a link in the description for that, and then he's going to be in our Discord group. There's already a link for that in the description as well. He'll be under the long-term investments channel. Obviously, you know, he'll be wherever he wants to be, but primarily if you're looking for long-term investment, you know, just some education or some insight or whatever, Cameron's going to be your guy, and he'll be there in the WeTrade HQ space. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Cameron, thanks so much for your time, and we'll see how this goes. I'm excited for it. So as always, I will see you all before the bell, and B Smith is out. See you guys.